Hi, this is the fourth time that we show up to City Council without any acknowledgement, without any empathy for the 40,000 precious lives that have been murdered in Gaza.
For over 5 months, people have been under siege, and it's been harder and harder every day for them to get food.
The crisis in Gaza is not just a distant tragedy. It is a stark reminder of our collective complicity, our collective silence that perpetuates these cycles of violence and suffering.
Today I saw a Palestinian child climb an electric pole to receive his kite, even though others offered to make him a new one. He still climbed to get it down. To others, it might seem like a silly kite, but as a mother and a person who saw others growing up in trauma, and being a child myself, feeling helpless to help them, that is not silly. You see, it isn't just a kite. It is the last hope of joy, the very thing still holding your sanity in place. Losing the kite would make the weight of the world around you a reality.
People in this room are some of the kindest people that I know, and they have family members being slaughtered and forcibly starved. We have come to say no more to anything that stands in the way of ending this genocide.
Over the last few weeks, we've seen an increase. More and more and more children, the elderly, and people dying of starvation. Their skin clinging to their body. You can see the outlines of their bones. They are like skeletons with flesh.
As the conflict, violence, massacre, artificial famine, ethnic cleansing, genocide continues, the toll on innocent lives continues to mount. Tens of thousands have been killed, many of them children. As the world watches, you all watch silently.
Jesus, the Palestinian Jewish revolutionary, stood in fierce opposition to inequity, overturning tables, systems, structures, and leaders that stood in the way of liberation for all people. Throughout the biblical canon, Jesus reserves his sharpest critique for local elites, teachers of the law, and moral and religious authorities. These people refuse to show mercy to the vulnerable. 40,000 precious lives have been murdered. Please do not stay silent. When you read the scriptures, do not think that you have the right to put yourself as the innocent one in the story.
I didn't actually write anything this time because I figured I wouldn't get the time. So yeah, I just sat here before the meeting and I prayed to be like, what do you think? You know, like, God, what would you have for these people? And it's crazy ironic because what came to my heart was Matthew 25. And then he will say to those on the left, "Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink." He will reply, "Whatever you did not do for the least of these, you did not do unto me." A ceasefire is the least thing that you can do. Palestinian lives are holy, and they are worth protecting.
40,000 people have died, Karen. Whatever you don't do for them, you will have to answer for.
This is now my fourth time coming here, and I don't know whether you're sick of seeing me, but I'm definitely sick of seeing you guys here. You came up and you took pictures with some of the audience members here, even when you say you can't engage with the audience members. And when we asked if we could have a picture, you completely ignored us, as if you can't hear us. We know you can. We know all of you can hear us. Eric, I've even seen you peeping on my Instagram stories, and yet you don't say anything. This is every one of your guys' responsibility here to speak up for your constituents, and that's all of us as well.
Karen, here's what you said a couple days after October 7th.
I'm grateful for the deep bond between the United States and Israel. I stand resolutely with Israel.
And then Andre, this is what you said 5 months later, after 30,000 Palestinians have been killed.
We don't have time to deal with foreign policy stuff that we have zero influence over. I would encourage any of the protesters who have concerns to reach out to their representative in Congress.
So which is it? Do you have time for foreign policy when you say that you stand resolutely with Israel? Or are you saying that you don't have time for foreign policy just so that you can justify ignoring our demands for more than 10 weeks? Your hypocrisy is blatant and obvious. So I will ask again, from everyone in this room, including every single one of you, raise your hand if you condemn the murder of Palestinian men, women, and children. Eric?
Mr.
Are you going to raise your hand? I'm not talking to you yet.
This is a reminder to the audience.
I'm not talking to you yet. Reclaiming my time. Are you going to raise your hand? No? Okay. Ken?
The council does not engage with raising of
Reclaiming my
hands
time.
on any topic.
Bob, are you going to condemn the murder of Palestinian men, women, and children? We know where you stand. Andre? Yeah. Yeah. Of course. You're going to stare blankly, or you're going to give us a response? Because you realize by staying silent, you're telling everyone in this room that you're absolutely fine with the murder of Palestinian families. Renpreet, you not only raised your hand, but you told us directly on multiple occasions that you stand against genocide.
Sir,
I'm saying it again.
Your time is up.
We
Please
are done
bring
with
your
words.
comments to a close.
We need action now. Introduce the resolution this community has submitted,
Sir,
or it's
your
no
time is up.
justice,
Please bring your
no
comments
peace.
to a close.
These are your city council members. This is our 4th time coming, and they continue to just stare at us with their blank faces time after time after time. Karen, on Friday, you were at your play, and you used the police force as your personal security to go get your car because you couldn't even face the people of Bakersfield to call for a ceasefire. You literally use your personal little security team that terrorizes and murders our community as your personal security because you were too afraid to come out and at least engage. And you keep saying, oh yeah, engage with us, keep coming. We want to better the city, but yet you continue to silence us and continue to turn a blind eye to a literal genocide.
Did you enjoy your play last Friday? I noticed that you weren't in the reception area for very long because it seemed that as soon as a few of us showed up, you scurried inside. Is this because you feel ashamed? Do you feel shame for the fact that you have yet to call for a ceasefire? Do you feel shame for the fact that you have yet to condemn the genocide of my people? Do you feel shame for the fact that you have yet to issue even a single word of support or sympathy for your Palestinian population here in Bakersfield?
At this point, with all of us coming and bringing it up to your attention, with everything that's in the media, all the news, you can't say that you're ignoring it. So at this point, if you're not saying anything about it, it's entirely because of the person that you are.
I don't want to keep coming every week or every 2 weeks. I'm tired. I'm really tired of seeing people die. And I leave you with this, just as my colleague was saying earlier, Matthew 19:24. It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person in power, yourself, look in the mirror, to enter the kingdom of God.
Raise your hand if you stand with Palestinians and for humanity. I see the council is still cowards. You are constantly chasing the evil dollar to fill the pits of your empty souls because you have no souls. You and your colleagues have heard multiple people describe the horrors that are happening in Gaza, and yet the decision has not wavered. You have not called for a ceasefire. Will today be that day that you regain some of your consciousness?
We cannot turn a blind eye to the karmic consequences of our inaction. The silence of the city council, the silence of so many people across the world only serves to perpetuate the very systems that oppress us. If we do not act now, if we don't break these cycles, we're going to repeat it.
Time is
the
up.
positions of power, the power balances always change. Therefore, I implore you, those who have currently the influence and power, rise, members of the city council, rise above the silence, break the chains of these complicities, and introduce and pass a ceasefire immediately for Gaza.
You look up to people like Ronald Reagan, who supported apartheid.
Your time is up. Please bring your comments to a close.
You support the CARE Act that criminalizes unhoused people.
Your time is up.
Slaves for this system.
I'm embarrassed for you, frankly. I did some digging, and I wish I could say I was surprised by what I found, but frankly, I'm not. But it seems that blind and rabid support for Israel runs in your family, because your brother David, founder and senior pastor of the Gardens Church here in Bakersfield, on October 7th, posted on their Facebook, "Pray for Israel," with some images. And yet these images were not of Israel. These images were of death and destruction in Palestine and in Gaza, and the slaughter of my people. Yet here they were misconstrued as "Pray for Israel." And this is something that happens all the time, where our suffering, when it's portrayed as suffering of Israelis, people are angry, people are upset, people are sympathetic. And yet second they find out that it's actually of Palestinians, radio silence. You keep doing what you're doing. But I'd like you to pass on a message to David, and it's a message that we repeat here to you again. Expect us wherever you go. And to all the students here, go back to your classes and talk about the mayor that you have here, the shameful disgrace, whose sympathies seem reserved for only a certain race of people who believe that Palestinian blood is cheap. And after 4 city council meetings, has yet to issue a single word of sympathy for over nearly 40,000 slaughtered Palestinians. This is for you.
We are at the end of our 20-minute segment for each agenda item.
Can you respond?
There is no conversation like this at this point from the audience. And each agenda item is listed to 20 minutes total. You're disrupting the meeting. You're disrupting the meeting.
Previously proposed item that includes the parking requirements.
Council Member Arias, would you just stop for a minute? Outbursts from the audience are disruptive to this meeting. If you continue, you will be asked to leave.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
You are disrupting the meeting.
Ceasefire now!
Disrupting the meeting.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Evidence, and the person that has it will be issued a citation.
So can you figure out the fucking octave that we need to stay under?
Because you don't know that that is I'm not lying, I just don't know the code. Figure it out. Okay, I'll get back to you, okay?
Maybe before you want to exercise the right to arrest us, you know what law you're fucking arresting us for.
You absolutely, you absolutely, if you use it, you will find out what the code is, okay?
Well, I've used it plenty.
This video of Officer Keith Schleck has gone viral, when Officer Schleck responds, "Yes, I am," after being called a murderer. Outside of City Hall, a group of the protesters confronted Officer Schleck with an article from 2016, which details when he hit and killed a man walking in the slow lane of eastbound Highway 58. Schleck was driving his police cruiser when the pedestrian was killed. In a statement, the United Liberation Front said in part, "Schleck showed no remorse for the victim or his family. We express our sorrows to the victim's family for having to see this blatant injustice." The statement further details City Council's lack of action towards calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, where nearly 40,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israel's airstrike bombings since October 7th. The City Council still has every opportunity to introduce and pass a ceasefire resolution. Every minute that passes is another life senselessly killed. Ceasefire.